Hello, everybody. Kevin Winder here. So glad to have you with me. Folks, we're here in my dark cloffice, and this is where I do all my recordings for my podcast for the last 6 years. But now I'm trying to do video. It's okay, and I'm not doing it to be famous. I'm not trying to be anybody. I'm just like you. I have a job. I go to work. I do this only because it's within my heart to do. And I'm hoping that by shrinking down my content, making it 500 words or less, that it's more accessible to a wider audience. And I think maybe video might open it up to people. So if you're hearing this for the first time, you find it interesting, engaging, or terrible, whatever, share it with a friend. You can use it to make fun of me, do whatever you need to do. But folks, my deepest wish is that it finds you, that these metaphors, which is really all the depth of life is always found in a metaphor. But I hope it finds you. I hope it reaches your soul. I hope it touches you at that deepest part of yourself so that it pulls you out of the distraction of life and into a new awareness, a new place of walking, a new place of being. And so with that, let's get started. This is podcast number 343, but it's number 2 in the Half Picture series, and I call it Understand. And I think the first consideration here is that people are not stupid. Whenever we say that people are stupid, it reveals that we have a darkened, myopic, tribal perspective. When I was attending a stadium event recently, I noticed that everybody comes into the gathering area from the outside. And what you may not realize is that whether you come from the north end or the south end, we all enter the arena from all these various portals. And then we end up finding our assigned seat. Now, what this means is that the process is the exact same for every single one of us. But the journey is different for every single one of us. It's totally unique. See, those entering from one side of the arena, they're not stupid. They're just on a different journey. And there's no one there who has more of the same process than you do, even though they're each on a totally different journey. Everyone is exactly the same, and everyone is totally different. In sports, like you have your kid in the blue jersey, and they're supposed to hate the kids in the red jersey. And nowhere else are there children that are more like our own than those on the field. So how did competition convince us that our neighbor is our enemy? They're exactly the same, and yet totally different. You see, we don't even understand ourselves. And most people have never ridden like a 10-foot tall unicycle. And I'm sure there's people out there who could explain every detail to you about how to do so. And you could probably take in all of that knowledge, all that information, all that instruction. But on your first attempt to ride the 10-foot unicycle, if you fell, would you be stupid? You see, until we actually ride, we lack the reality of understanding. In all the technical details, they're just the small part of reality. We just don't understand, and we don't experience reality as a result of that. I went to my local tea factory, and all the teas smell amazing. But the peppermint tea is kind of quarantined into its own chamber. And as I went in there, it was burning my eyes, and I could only last in there a little while. But after leaving, I noticed the only aroma that I could smell anymore was peppermint. I became what they call nose blind. And what I realized is that one echo chamber distorts the whole experience. Did the other teas lose their aroma? No. I lost my ability to perceive. See, people aren't stupid. We've lost our ability to perceive. Darkness has taken over. We can't perceive ultimate reality either. We just don't understand it. And the religious mind thinks it does, right? When it comes to God and ultimate reality, the religious mind always puts God into a box, into a little container of all of our ideas and our doctrines and dogmas and imaginations. Thomas Merton, a really wise man, once said, God cannot be understood except by himself. If we are to understand him, we can only do so by, in some way, being transformed into him. Let that one sink in a little bit. You see, throughout history, the shocking discovery is that religion prefers the darkness of transaction far more than the light of transformation. You see, the religious mind says we're different. We're better. We're not like those people. Our world doesn't understand either, right? It doesn't understand that it has become far more religious than it realizes. Our world is so much more religious now than it has ever been. Just look at politics. Look at business. Look at the arts. Look at the sports. Look at science. Folks, these are all big religion. And each one is accelerating because it is having and hating an enemy who is just like them. See, love, folks, has no enemies because it loves them. See, love turns an enemy into a friend. In life, folks, is not our myopic, our short-sighted distractions. The life within us that's surrounding us, that's always invading us, is a light which allows us to understand. If we can just escape the darkness, the confusion, the lack of understanding, which is just built into our sense of certainty. It's time for unknowing. It's time for rethinking, which is another word for repentance. Humility removes otherness permanently. Compassion brings us the understanding in which we seek. John 1:4-5 says, "In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light has shined in the darkness, but the darkness has not understood it."